Wasting money on cures. Forgot how to fix myself. They say that time is free. Then why is it so precious? Oh, I'll say memories in my head, like Polaroids on walls. They remind you to look ahead. Time is running out. Time is running out. Lately I've lost my track. I've sailed the deeper seas, hoping to find something to bring back better times. Oh, I'll say memories in my head, like Polaroids on walls. They remind you to look ahead. But time is running out. 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 Time is running. Time is running out. But time is running out. What if my best days are over? They can be over. They can't be over now. Time is running out. What if my best days are over? They can't be over now. Time is running out. Time is running out. Time is running out.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our latest, our second of this week, live revision session for AQA A-Level Business. And the more observant amongst you will have noticed we have a new face with us today for today's session. Now, I'm not referring to Graham. I'm referring to George. So good morning, George. Welcome.
Good morning.
Handpicked by Graham, trained by Graham to go through the... We haven't told you yet, George, you're doing every single activity in this session this morning. Graham and I are going to take a back
Okay.
seat. And I believe you may be known to one or two people in the live chat, as I'm now discovering looking at the live chat window.
I'm hoping the messages are nice.
Yeah, no, they will be. Well, we can block those where the messages aren't nice. So, I mean, welcome everyone. We've got over almost 200 people now live in the live stream. We had massive numbers yesterday. About 2,500 students watched the replay as well yesterday. So if you've not caught up with that, catch up with that maybe after this session. Graham, do you want to take us through what we've got in store for the next 30 minutes or so?
Yeah, hello everyone. It's great to see Joe Herbaceous Plants Kent in, because we were talking about, weren't we, the level of application on the from Joe yesterday. Yeah, so we've got it's a very exact same format as yesterday. So we are doing some true or false. We are doing some calculation questions, and there was a special request specifically by Will. So we're doing some critical path, quite a challenging activity on critical path, and we're going to do another 16-mark open question. So should we get started?
Why don't we?
So as usual, use the chat window. We've got over 250 people now, and it will surely get busier as we progress. So on screen, you're going to show some questions. All you need to do is decide whether they are true or false and type your answer into the chat window. So we've got efforts by the government to influence the economy via taxes and government spending is known as monetary policy. So that is either true or it's false. So all you need to do is type in the chat window whether it's true or whether it's false.
50% chance on this, isn't there?
There's always a 50% chance with true or false. Now, if you think it's false, type in why it's false. If you think it's true, then you don't need to type in why it's true because you think it's true. So what do we think? So lots going for false. Yeah. Shall we reveal the answer?
That's a relief.
It is indeed false. Okay, it's the wrong way around. So monetary policy would be the use of interest rates to to stimulate the economy. Well done there. So we do know the difference between monetary and fiscal policy, and that was asked specifically again on our Shoot to Your Business Instagram page. Can we do a question on monetary policy? We aim to please. There we go. So the next one is technical, purchasing and managerial are examples of economies of scope. Now, Jim loves a bit of economies of scope, but are technical, purchasing and managerial examples of economies of scope? Is that true or is that false? What do we think? So again, it's great to see lots of answers in the chat window. So Jane rolls there, and Dylan's going, well, actually, it's false because there are economies of scale. And you would be right. So technical, purchasing and managerial. So purchasing, for example, bulk buying, but to give it its proper term, purchasing, are examples of economies of scale, not economies of scope. Should we do one more of these, Jim?
Yeah. Of course, you can have economies of scale and economies of scope, can't you?
You can indeed.
So you can have both, but
they're not mutually exclusive. Yeah, you can have both. You can have both. Yeah.
Oh, this is a hard question.
It is a tough question. So, a business had an adverse profit variance last year of £20,000. Budgeted profit was £200,000. Actual profit was therefore £180,000. Is that true or is that false? And now I just want to pick up on something on the chat window there. Adam said, is economies of scope in at Excel? It isn't. It's not in there, so don't worry, because I know we do get different exam boards, because we know how much you love these. So it's not uncommon to have Excel students on the AQA one. Do not worry about economies of scope Excel students. Anyway, back to business. Is that true or is that false? So the actual profit was 180,000 if the adverse profit variance was 20,000 and budget profit was 200,000 pounds. What do we think? Yeah, lots of answers coming in. Let's reveal the answer. It is indeed true. Now, just because a business made a profit doesn't mean it's a favourable variance. It was less than budget. So actual minus budget is your variance. It's not a minus figure. So AQA are very specific on that. If you have to work out a variance, you need to state whether it's adverse or favourable or AOF. Avoid minuses because, it's not a minus. The business made a profit of 180,000. So to say minus 20,000 would be incorrect. It's not true. And you could lose a mark for that. I do believe, have we got one more of these or are we on two?
Yeah, we have.
We're on one more. So agreeing longer credit periods with suppliers would increase the payables. No, it wouldn't increase the receivables days ratio. So agreeing longer, read that wrong, agreeing longer credit periods with suppliers would increase the receivables days ratio. No clue in that, in my blooper there. True or false?
We can edit that one out, Graham.
We'll edit that one out, eh? So we got Jacob there, putting it in capitals as well as exclamation marks, just to reinforce the point. Okay.
Lots of people in the live chat pointing out what it would do, which is brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, it would do, yeah. It would do, yeah. Now remember, if you had to work out payables or receivables days, you need to write days after your answer, because you could lose a mark for that. Okay, and the fact that I didn't mess up because I'm a Sunderland fan. I just got confused. Anyone could have made that mistake. So I think that's a true or false done, Jim. I believe
so. Yeah.
Another success story. So I'm going to hand you off to George now, who's going to do a little bit of investment appraisal.
Okay, so first maths question coming up then. So a business is considering an investment costing £750,000. In the table below, you've got the estimated cash inflows and cash outflows. So you've got year 0, year 1, 2, and 3 for inflows and outflows. Can we have the question, Jim?
Yep. Oh,
So can you calculate the average rate of return of the proposed investment? Thank you. So you need to figure out the first step to this.
shall we start the clock and
Yeah, let's
see how
start the
people
time.
get on? Yeah, here we go.
Some quick answers in there, Jim.
Very quick, aren't they? If you're really quick, maybe have a go at the payback as well, the payback period.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We've got some formulas in there as well. Okay, time is up. So we had quite a few people with answering that question, nice and quick. And payback is also in there, Jim, that they've had a go at. So should we have a look at the answer? Okay, so the average rate of return, then you needed to work out the net cash flow first. And then obviously in the table, we've put the net cash flows for each of the years. Then you can add those up together and get your total net cash flow. Then you need to remember to take away the cost of the investment, which is the 750. So you are left with the net cash flow of £450,000. You are right in the formulas. Well done. You then divide that by the number of years, which gives you 150,000. And then again, correct formulas used where we go back and divide that by the initial investment of 750 times 100. And we get our answer in percentage. So well done, 20%. I did see a few in the messages, though, without the percentage sign. So we don't want to be doing that, do we? Payback as well, Jim?
Yeah. I'm just picking out some people who've not just done the ARR, but also done the payback period. Izzy, along with others, Ash and lots of others, all went for the same thing, which I think is correct. Let's have a look, shall we? Yeah, it is. Do you want to take us through how we get to 2 years, 3 months?
Yep.
George?
So the last, well, we would have done this through the cumulative, and the last number in the brackets would have been the 150. You then divide that by your next year's net cash flow. So that was the 600. And then you times that by 12 to give you your 3 months. And then you go back to the table and you recognize that it was 2 years and 3 months.
Some quick work there.
Nice question. Very quick
Really
work.
good.
Very impressed.
What's next, G? Is it you? Is it me? Is it George? Who is it?
Yeah, can I just go back to that question a second? I just wanted to add something there. So a question not dissimilar to that was examined in 2017, where students were also given the discount factor. Now, they had to work out payback period and also net present value, I believe. Some students apply the discount factor before going on to work out payback, which is obviously incorrect. You want to use that for net present value or discounted cash flow. And some students, instead of working payback out, worked out the average rate return and therefore got 0 marks. Make sure you know what each one requires and answer your question accordingly. Where is Ansoff the bear? Well, he's, there he is.
No.
There he is, yeah. There he is. Okay, should we move on to would you believe it, which is quite literally a quality question. So, would you believe it is a manufacturer of oak furniture? The factory has a capacity of 250,000 units per year. Below is data relating to the labour turnover and output of the business. So let's just take a minute just to familiarise ourselves with this data. So we've got 2019 to 2022, we've got the labour turnover, the annual labour turnover as expressed as a percentage. Then we've also got the index of output from 2019 to 2022. So we're told that the base year is 2019 when 200,000 units were produced. So we've got two bits of data there. We've got some operational data and we've got some HR data. The question is, how might the changes in labour turnover and output impact on the quality of the furniture? So what we'd like you to do is, we're going to play a little bit of, we're going to play that sick beat in a second, is look at that data and think, actually, what are the changes? What's it telling us? And how can we link that to the impact on quality? Okay, so there's two parts of this. What's the data? What's the changes in the data? What's it telling us? And how can we link that to quality? So you might want to just pick, maybe the HR data or maybe the output data, or you can pick both. Have a go and we'll pick up the best answers from the chat window. Jim, start the music, please. So we can clearly see, when we look at the annual labour turnover, we can see that labour turnover, we can see there's a pattern there. So recognising what's happening to labour turnover and then linking that to quality. So already we've got some unbelievable application now. Labour turnover lower, so more experienced staff. That is really, really good. And we could develop that further by actually using information from the table. So we could say that in 2019, labour turnover was 14%, and that's decreased to 7%. So we've got Will there, turnover decreasing 50% lower than 2019. This may, that's a good use of language, affect the quality of the products as they like to have more experience. And that's all you need to do. So it's really good that we're actually using the data there. Lots and lots coming in. Most are focused on labor turnover. And you can also, if you look at the question, everyone here has focused on, the benefits of that. And, it just said how might the changes impact. That could be plus or minus. You could argue that lower labor turnover and a more experienced workforce limits the amount of new people coming into the business. Therefore, new ideas, fresh ideas, new ways of working, innovative new types of furniture. So you can look at, both sides of it. And Robert here had, if we can pull that one up, I think, talking about capacity utilization. So you worked out capacity utilization, which was great. Luke, I didn't see yours, unfortunately. So there's that many answers in the chat window. So I didn't recognize you picked up a negative. My apologies for that. We've got too much interaction, you see. So if we look at the capacity utilization data, we can see that.
I found Luke's. There we go.
Ah, there we go. You had to look hard there, didn't you, Jim? Through all the comments. If you pardon the pun. So actually, new ideas are not flowing into the business. So you'd need to explain how and why. So, I mean, obviously, this is not an exam, and what you've said there is superb. But it's okay saying lower labour turnover will lead to higher quality. We need to explain the how and why. How does it lead to, higher quality and why? If we look at the index of output, even without working any calculations, we must know the capacity utilization is increasing, because, the index has increased from 100 to 110. So between 2019 and 2022, the output's increased by 10%. Therefore, because capacity doesn't change, capacity utilization must have increased. And you could have worked that out, actually, that in 2019, capacity utilization was 80%. That's the 200,000 divided by the 250,000 times 100. Yeah, that would be a typical 9-mark question, Claudia. Yeah, that would be a typical 9-mark question. And in paper 3, there would be an expectancy that you can apply and use data. So this would be a typical 9-mark question. So should we just run through some suggestions? Again, maybe go back through this, on replay, screenshot, the screen so you can see what we're talking about here. So labour turnover, we can see that it's falling, and we also see output is rising. So, it will lead to a more experienced workforce. That's not an assertion, that's true. It may lead to fewer mistakes and increased quality, so you can develop that further. And we got Luke's point there that it could mean fewer new ideas coming into the business and may limit the opportunity for innovative new furniture. If we look at the output data there, make sure you can understand index numbers. It's a key quantitative skill. It has appeared before in the exam papers. Make sure you are on top of index numbers. So we can recognize, even without the calcs, that output's increasing, capacity stays the same, so capacity utilization must be increasing. We can link that to lower unit costs, which could mean more revenue or more resources to improve quality. Maybe they could invest in quality circles or something, or quality assurance or something like that. You could argue that, being busier could lead to more motivation as their security needs are being met. Subsequently, there's a link there to quality. But, if you are busier, if you are 10% busier, or producing 10% more, staff may be overworked, and that could result in mistakes being made and poorer quality furniture. Yeah, so if we go back to that, if we go back to the table, so we can see we've set a base year, so base year 2019, which is when 200,000 units were produced. It's just a different way, really, in the short space of time we've got of expressing, percentage changes. So the base year was 2019 when 200,000 units were produced. In 2020, the index is now 102, and that tells us that output has increased by 2% from 2019. Now it's all about the bass. Now remember that song, Jim, Megan Trainor, all about the bass. She was actually singing about index numbers there. So if we look at 2021, so we need to go back to the base year. So in 2021, output has increased by 5% when compared to 2019. And if we look at 2022, output has increased by 10% compared to 2019. So it's not gone up 5% between 2021 and 2022. We've got to go back to the base year. Okay, I think that was some amazing application there. Well done, everyone. Great work. Great work. So, should we do a 16-mark question? Yeah, you
a
can
bit
do
of
this
a
one.
16-mark open question. So don't forget, in paper 2, we've got 3 16-mark questions, one of which is likely to be a decision or recommendation question from the first case study. And if past papers are a guide, then the next 2 mini case studies will have a 16-mark open question at the end after a 9-marker. And these are the open questions that talk about a business or any business or all business. Now, the advice is don't forget to use the case study. Why wouldn't you? You don't have to, but why wouldn't you use the case study as one of your arguments? But then what you then need to do is to consider a completely different industry or situation so that you've got a contrasting context or scenario. So here's our mini case study. Costless is a discount supermarket chain. It's got 200 stores, so relatively small chain. It stocks a range of private label and non-branded products, such as Brumwell's ketchup, which are priced much lower than branded alternatives for suppliers such as Heinz. So Costless has been able to increase its market share by consistently offering lower prices than rival supermarkets. So the question is, to what extent do you think all businesses need to focus on having the lowest prices to compete effectively? Now, with a 16-mark open question, our first argument would be why Costless needs to focus on having the lowest prices to compete effectively. However, we need a counter-argument, don't we? So we need to think about some businesses, industries, or sectors that don't need to focus on having lowest price to compete. So that's the challenge for you in the live chat. Maybe 30 seconds, a minute, if you want to type in some suggestions. We've got a couple, but it's always interesting to see what you might have in your locker, ready to bring in for a question such as this. So over to you. I'll keep an eye on the live chat. Feel free to chip in, George and Graham, whilst I'm keeping an eye if you spot one.
Yeah, I think it's also important to recognise that traditionally in paper 2, that the businesses used have been based on real businesses, but not actually used real businesses. So we can assume with Costless is an Aldi style little store. But yeah, so businesses like Rolex, so luxury brand, don't have the lowest prices. Maybe how and why. You could maybe explain that.
There was a good link to Porter's generic strategies in one of the answers.
Let's have a look for that. Let's do a quick search. Oh, was it Ellie's?
It quite possibly could have been.
Lots of answers coming into the live chat around Porter's generic strategies, in particular. Costless essentially must be adopting a cost leadership or cost
Jen
focus
Lewis
approach.
has got one about niche markets. That's quite good.
Yeah, there we go. No, so here's the counter argument. No, businesses in niche markets where they're competing on a differentiation basis, either differentiation in a broad market or differentiation focus in a narrow market. That's all about competing not so much on price, well, not on price, but on quality, isn't it? Or maybe some other aspect, some non-price factors such as quality, maybe product features, brand reputation, all that kind of stuff. These are brilliant. It's great examples. I think the interesting one though is I'll just put Jen's on that. Thanks for that one. I think with this one, I would be tempted not to stay in the supermarket industry. I think with the 60 mark open questions, you need to move completely away from the broad industrial market that the case study has had. It's possible to show contrast, but I think there's a risk there and there, which you could get confused, and you're not really making a sufficiently contrasting point to address the all businesses aspect. I don't know whether you agree with that, George or Graham.
Yeah,
Use a
definitely.
completely different industry. Can you pull up Jane Rawls's
let's do a quick search.
And there was What's Up Dog was just above, which was
that was a good one as well.
similar.
Let's
Very
put
similar.
James.
So luxury businesses. So we've got some such as seasoning, and What's Up Dog said a very similar thing. Luxury brands. So What's Up Dog looked like Louis Vuitton. So we've got such as Chanel. May not need, so may is a good use of language to focus on having the lowest prices because their products, such as handbags, are price inelastic, and some customers are willing to pay high prices. And when we're looking at luxury brands, for they are generally price inelastic because sometimes they're a lifestyle choice. So some people just decide to buy them because they are not sensitive to price. So that was a completely contrast. So I would agree and concur with Jim there. Use a completely different market, industry, or sector to the one in the case study, because that's going to allow you to really bring in that breadth of analysis, which is what we need for paper 2.
And I think Porter's generic strategy is not the only one, of course, because you could use potentially Bowman's strategic clock as well as other models. But Porter's generic strategies feels like the model that really helps add some depth to your analysis. And then it's really also then just about sprinkling some application in there, isn't it? So to address the all businesses aspect, we need a contrasting context or two. And in particular, in the evaluation, to add some value to the evaluation, bring in another bit of application, another example, not another point, but another example. So in this case, we've picked out lots of people in the live chat talked about luxury goods, such as Aston Martin and Prada. These always tend to be brands that Graham buys. I don't know why it features in these
a bit of Prada,
answers. So it's not about price, it's about targeting customers, segmentation, targeting, positioning with certain lifestyle and status and aspiration. Therefore, customers are really not sensitive to price. Therefore, businesses don't need to compete on price. And that last one is quite interesting. A nice use of using words that imply the context of the business. So businesses that offer professional services such as legal and accounting services, well, they don't have customers. Well, they do have customers, but they're actually called clients, aren't they? So using the word clients makes it applied to that situation, which is legal and accounting services. And I've never yet met a lawyer or an accountant who competes on price. Anything but. Great answers in the live chat.
Can I just pick up on some queries there in the live chat about how long should we spend on these type of questions and how many paragraphs? Well, we tend to use as a guide a minute a mark, and in terms of the if we can go back to the question, Jim, on the previous slide, to what extent do you think all businesses need to focus on having the lowest prices to compete effectively? I mean, there's lots of different structures you can take, but one you could use could be to maybe argue why. One argument as to why cost less do need to focus on having the lowest prices to compete effectively. You would be given more information in your actual paper 2 than we've got on screen. So you would be given more information. But so one argument as to why cost less, use the business in the case study. That's the easiest way because you'll have already written about it in previous questions. So why cost less may need to focus on having the lowest prices. Then contrast that to get balance by looking at a different industry, segment or market and argue why that industry or businesses in that industry do not need to focus on having the lowest prices. So there's your balance. There's 2 paragraphs. You've got your balance. Then you would need a conclusion or judgment as to the extent to which all businesses need to focus on having the lowest prices. Now, what is really important when you're answering 6-mark questions is these are not yes or no answers, because you can't say yes, all businesses need to focus on having the lowest prices, because that's not true. Nor can you say yes, all businesses do not need, because that's not true. It will always depend. So your evaluation has to recognize that actually you're talking about all businesses and they will be different. So invariably the answer to these type of questions is it depends on the sector or industry you're looking at. So hopefully
Yeah, good
we
question.
answered those questions. Should we move on? We've got 2 activities left.
Yep.
So I'm going to do this one on critical path, and then George is going to do an application spinner. So this was requested, by Will, also by lots of students. Can we do something on critical path? So we are. So we've got a business here called the Vegan Van, whose slogan is "Live life on the veg." Who writes this stuff? So due to rapid growth in the UK vegan and plant-based food market, brothers George and Harry are launching the Vegan Van. We've got a picture of a van there just in case you didn't know what a van was. A mobile street food catering business. It will trade at festivals, weddings and other events. George and Harry believe that the Vegan Van must be fully operational in 12 weeks to coincide with a large music festival in Sunderland. Sunderland Calling, I'm actually going to that myself, and their first wedding booking. They have constructed a network diagram, all durations in weeks. So it's got to be done in 12 weeks in order to coincide with the music festival and the wedding booking. So there's our network diagram on screen. So it's so basically they want it done by 12 weeks. Looks as though it can be done in 11. So can we have a look at the question, please, Jim? So what we want you to do is look at what are the possible consequences of a 5-week delay to activity B. So this is a really challenging question. Make no mistake about it, because not only have you got to look and think, actually, if activity B is delayed by 5 weeks, what's going to happen to the overall duration of this project? And if it is delayed, by how long? What's the impact of that in relation to what we've just seen? So have a look. So you can. It's okay saying, well, it will increase the critical path. That's fine. What would it increase it to? And what could be the impact of that on this particular business? So already we've got someone saying it will increase by 3 weeks. I hate these so much. Well, yeah, they're not to everyone's taste, but you know what? What do we think? So we've got a 3-week delay because there is 2-week float time on activity B. So that's absolutely fantastic there. So you've recognized that there will be a delay. You've worked out how much, but what we want to know is Holly there. I think Holly was the first one, I think, who came in with a bit of application. So it's okay saying it'll be delayed. We have to link this to so that's really good. So it'll be delayed by 3 weeks. It had to be done by 12 in order to be ready for the festival in Sunderland, also their first wedding booking. So you've got, it may miss the festival, and then you would need to analyse the impact of that. It's okay to say miss the festival, so you could argue maybe, less revenue. You're talking about reputation. We're living in an age now where, you've got Trustpilot, you've got all those online forums. If you don't turn up for your first booking or booking, then, you could have a bad reputation that could impact, future bookings. Unable to deliver the right result to the festival, decreasing reputation in an industry which would rely on heavy word of mouth. So really, we've got some really, really good application there. So there was 2 parts to this, recognizing the delay and the impact of that, on the future business. Shall we have a look at the next slide? So we can see that B's now, it's increased to 9 weeks. Remember that a 2-week float time, so that would increase, the duration of the critical path to 14 weeks. So there's a 2-week delay based on, so we wanted it in 12 weeks. It's going to be 2 weeks after that. There's more application. And therefore, you can link that to what we saw in the case study. So, activity B becomes a critical activity, meaning it's not going to be operational in 12. It's going to be operational in 14 weeks. But remember, these are all estimates. It could be even longer. It could be quicker. The delay means the van wouldn't be ready for the music festival, so we've got some lost revenue, not ready for the wedding. So this could impact on future bookings, also reputational damage. So well done, everyone. That was a challenging question. And if you're unsure how we arrived at the 14 weeks, please, you can watch this again on replay. So I do believe we're on to the last activity, Jim.
I can't hear Jim. Can you, Graham?
Jim's muted.
Okay.
I'm not anymore. There we go. I'm
Okay.
not anymore. That comes from pressing the mute button and then forgetting to press the unmute button. So the application spinner, I think we'll do this as a team, shall we?
Okay.
The rumours are that the application spinner is fixed. That's hopefully that's something we can put to bed in this session, because we've no idea where it's going to land. So the application spinner is a really useful technique for practicing application, and we just pick a topic and then we try and apply that topic or that aspect of that topic to a different context, different scenario. It's a good one to think about. It's actually a really good revision technique, this. We don't know where it's going to land. It's as much fun for George and Graham and I as it is for everybody else watching live. So we've got 6 different situations or different contexts there. We've got Mackie D's, Nissan, Sky TV, a pet shop, a holiday company, and a gym. And we want to have your thoughts, please, as to how segmentation or market segmentation, the use of market segmentation, might benefit one of those businesses. Let's spin the wheel. Joseph said 20 quid, it's on the pet shop. Joseph, thanks very much. I've got your money. Cool dude thought it was going to be Sky TV. I think the last 3 times we've done this, it has been pet shop, hasn't it, Graham, George? So, but anyway, it's not. It's Sky TV. So over to you. Last activity. Can you give us a thought or two as to how the use of market segmentation might benefit Sky TV? So we're looking for application.
Yep.
Picked up to relevant to Sky TV. So in other words, your responses should be about Sky TV and not about a pet shop or McDonald's.
Remembering that they're a service rather than a product as well.
Indeed. Yep. So keep an eye out, George and Graham, in the live chat. If you spot anyone out, there's so many answers coming through. We've got almost 300 people in the live chat. I'll stick just a few that I'm seeing coming through.
Megan.
There's Ashes talking about identifying times that consumers generally watch TV.
Megan had a good answer as well.
There's Megan's. It allows them to offer new TV shows that are suited. So TV shows is application that is suited to a different target market, such as reality TV, to help them add appropriate shows and increase. So why is it a benefit? Don't forget the application is great, but what that's great about Mega's answer is it goes on to explain how it might be a benefit to Sky TV. In this case, increasing the number of people who are subscribed to different TV packages. Have we seen any more? I think we've.
Jane's got one on incomes, which is quite good rather than.
Okay, I'll just search for that. There we go. Yeah. Loads of great answers coming in. Market segmentation will allow Sky TV to target customers based on their incomes. So don't forget the different bases of segmentation. There's demographic, income segmentation as being two of the spec methods of segmentation. For example, providing lots of different TV packages varying on price to suit the different needs and different incomes of customers. And of course, that might be a benefit to them because that might enable them to gain more or keep more subscribers, even if subscribers are impacted by the cost of living crisis.
Yep.
Excellent. Have you seen any more? These are great. Great. I mean, there was as always, great application of. What have you seen, George?
There was one about the different Sky, how they've split up the sport channels now as well, so that they can make as much money as they possibly can from each one instead of an overall package as well. I thought that was quite good.
Yeah, indeed. Well, I've picked out Jonathan's here, which mentions sport and possibly also Alex,
there you go.
segment the sports separately so they can wring every last penny out of. So you could just improve that application slightly by saying so they can maximize the revenue from each segment of subscribers, otherwise known as wringing every last penny out of us. Yep. That's a great point there from Jonathan. Alex has got a similar point. Segmentation allows Sky to target TV packages at the lifestyles of customers. So don't forget, we've got income segmentation, demographic, and lifestyle, such as Sky Sports. Awesome. I think Jonathan basically answered the question, didn't he? That's why it's a
Yes.
benefit. How do you maximize revenues? You wring every last penny out of the,
Yeah.
There
out of the
was
customer.
there was a comment there. Someone saying that they charge £100 to watch Chelsea. Did Sky pay you to watch that?
Graham, weren't you saying that you'd bought a new TV last week or at the weekend?
Yeah, I think I mentioned it yesterday. I bought a new TV just to watch the Premier League next year. But when I opened up the box, no leads.
Oh, dear. Send it
Oh
back.
dear.
So here's a suggested response on the right hand side there whilst Graham thinks of his next Sky TV related pun. So segmentation could allow Sky TV to develop new products and services aimed at different segments, such as new channels. So the use of the word channel is not repeating the words of the question, but it's relevant to the context, isn't it? And different packages. I think lots of people in the live chat mentioned different groups of viewers. So rather than saying customers, talk about viewers, because that's who watch and buy Sky TV. So, and also by meeting the specific needs of more groups of viewers, it may allow them to compete more effectively with similar businesses such as Netflix, Disney Plus, and what's that new one? ITVX, isn't it? ITVX. Excellent. I think we have answered that in a great way. Great example of application in action. Is that it, Graham? It is. We're done.
Yeah, we're done. Yeah.
Thoughts on that?
Yeah, we're done. Yeah. Some good answers. What do you think, George? Some belters there.
Some really good application in there as well, which was quite impressive.
And also the speed of response on the ARR and payback. Quite even though we didn't ask for payback, people still calculated payback. And also everyone dived in, didn't they, to the critical path or the network analysis. And I don't think it's going to get much more complicated than that for a CPA style question. Could be a paper 2 question, but just as easily could be part of the appendices, couldn't it, in paper 3. Excellent. Hope you've enjoyed that. It's 40 minutes or so. Well, 34 minutes if you exclude all the references to Sunderland and banter. A big thumbs up, please, and a big like on the live chat for George for her debut appearance on these. Many more to come.
Thanks for having me.
That's great to see you, and consider yourself hired for future sessions. We've got a paper 2 warm up coming up at the start next week. We might try and squeeze in maybe a 9 marker or a 16 marker session, maybe on Monday. That would require me to write a couple of new mini case studies, which I'll try and do. So hopefully that we'll be able to do that. And the best way to find out about that would be to subscribe to the YouTube channel, so you get an alert as when new sessions are lined up. If you want to join us for the Edexcel session coming up, there's some more revision, topic-based revision, obviously with an Edexcel theme, but a lot of that stuff is relevant to AQA as well. That's at 11 o'clock. But for now, hopefully you found it useful. And we'll see you next time. Cheers.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.